The encrypted signal arrived at the New York Connecticut TU field office at 8:47 on a Tuesday morning, and it arrived like a stone dropped into still water. Agent Jack Bauwer was 3 sips into his coffee when the alert chimed across his workstation. The message had been intercepted through routine monitoring of a known terrorist communication hub, routed through 3 countries and buried under layers of obfuscation that the NSA's algorithms had finally cracked open. Jack leaned closer to his screen. The decoded text was sparse but unmistakable. The package arrives at noon. Midday distribution begins. All teams confirm readiness. No signatures, no location markers. Just enough to make your blood run cold if you'd been doing this job as long as Jack had. He was on his feet before the second confirmation ping hit the system. The CTU director, Sarah Chen, was already in the operations center when Jack rushed through the secure doors. She stood at the central command station, her dark eyes fixed on the digital map of New York City projected across the main wall. Dozens of red markers flickered across the display, each one representing a potential target, a potential disaster. "Talk to me," Sarah said without looking away from the screen. Jack pulled up the intercept on the shared monitor. 8 minutes old. Military-grade encryption, but not military-grade security. Someone was careless, or someone wanted us to find it. Which? Too early to know, but the language suggests logistics, a package, distribution. That's not rhetoric, that's operational planning. Sarah's jaw tightened. She reached for her communications headset. "I'm calling in every available unit. I want traffic cameras monitored at every port of entry. Newark, Jersey City, the bridges, all of it. And get me eyes on the shipping manifests from the past 48 hours. She paused, then turned to Jack. "You have something." It wasn't a question. Sarah had learned to read him over the years. "The port of Newark," Jack said. "The intercept metadata points to a transmission bounce off a cell tower near the industrial zone. If they're moving something physical, something large enough to matter, they'd use the port. It's the fastest way to distribute across the city." "You're going. Now." Jack was already moving toward the vehicle bay. Behind him, Sarah's voice cut through the comms system, coordinating with field teams, federal agents, New York PD liaison, everyone. The city was waking up to the fact that something was wrong, though they didn't know what yet. By noon, if they didn't find the answer, New York would find out the hard way. The drive to Newark took 32 minutes. Jack pushed the sedan hard through morning traffic, his phone buzzing with incoming intelligence. Sarah was feeding him data in real time. A shipping container flagged for irregular documentation, a truck rented under a false name, a pattern emerging from the noise. Jack took the exit toward the port, the industrial sprawl of Jersey spreading out before him like a concrete maze. Somewhere in those containers, somewhere in the organized chaos of cranes and cargo and commerce, a clock was counting down. The port stretched before him like a graveyard of steel and shadow. Jack cut the engine 2 blocks out, moving on foot through the pre-dawn darkness. His earpiece crackled with Nina's voice from CTU operations, coordinates updating in real time. The container's location narrowed down to Pier 7. He moved fast and quiet, past rows of idling trucks, their drivers asleep in cabs or grabbing coffee from the all-night stand near the entrance. Security was minimal this hour. That was either luck or careful planning. Jack had learned long ago that luck was usually the latter in disguise. The container sat exactly where the manifest said it would, 40 feet of corrugated steel, weathered and anonymous. Jack approached from the side, scanning for sensors. Nothing visible. He pulled the door latch and it gave way with a metallic groan. Inside, he found exactly what he expected. Crates. Pallets. The kind of cargo that moved through ports every single day without drawing a second glance. But when he opened the first crate, his stomach tightened. Circuit boards. Military-grade encryption hardware. And beneath them, stacks of currency. Euros. Sterling. Cryptocurrency transfer documents, printed and bound like a manifesto. He was photographing the serial numbers when he heard the footsteps. 2 men came from the container's blind side, moving with professional efficiency. Jack had maybe 2 seconds to decide. He moved left, using the container's shadow, but they were already advancing. One raised a weapon. Jack didn't wait for the shot. He moved into them, fast and brutal, disarming the first before the second could react. He had 30 seconds of advantage, maybe less. He ran. Behind him, shouting erupted. Radios crackled. The port's quiet shattered into chaos. Jack vaulted a fence, cut through an open warehouse, and emerged onto a side street where his car waited. He was moving before the doors fully closed, tires squealing against asphalt. His phone rang as he merged onto the highway. Nina's voice came through tight with urgency. "Jack, we have a problem. The intel on that location, it didn't come from the usual channels. I traced it backward through our systems. Someone inside CTU buried it in the routine traffic analysis. Someone with access to everything." Jack's hands tightened on the wheel. "How far back?" 3 days, maybe longer. Whoever they are, they've been sanitizing their tracks. But Jack, there's more. I found a secondary transaction. Financial wire from a shell corporation in Singapore. $2 million. It hit a personal account 48 hours ago. The account belongs to someone in our building. The highway stretched ahead, empty and endless. Jack's mind was already moving through the list of faces he saw every day, the people he trusted, the people who had access to everything he did. "Send me the account details," he said quietly. "And Nina, don't tell anyone else about this. Not yet." The line went silent for a beat. Then, "You think it's someone we know?" "I think," Jack said, "that we're about to find out who we can't trust." The account details came through encrypted on Jack's phone. 3 transfers. $2.4 million moving in a perfect triangle through shell companies registered in the Caymans, Singapore, and Delaware. The breadcrumb trail of someone who knew exactly how to hide money. Someone trained. Someone inside. Jack's hands were steady as he pulled up the personnel database. 23 people with access to the classified briefings on the biological dispersal system. 23 people who could have fed coordinates to the operation. He started cross-referencing financial records, looking for the telltale signs. A sudden deposit. A pattern break. The kind of thing people forgot about when they were too busy planning mass murder. The name came up at hour 9. David Chen, senior analyst. 7 years with the agency. Commendations. A family in Westchester. A mortgage that didn't match his salary. Not by a long shot. The office tower on Madison Avenue was locked down within minutes. Ked Chen had the building surrounded before Chen even knew they were coming. Jack took the elevator alone, his hand resting on the pistol at his hip. The 42nd floor was silent, except for the hum of servers and the distant sound of the city far below. Chen was at his workstation when Jack walked through the glass doors. He didn't look up immediately, just kept typing. When he finally turned, his face was calm, almost resigned. "I wondered how long before you figured it out," Chen said. "The launch is in 3 hours, Jack said, keeping his voice level. "Tell me where they're deploying it." "No." Chen's hand moved toward something on his desk. Jack crossed the distance in 2 strides, weapon drawn. Chen froze. His fingers were inches from a red button embedded in the keyboard. "Step away from the desk." "You know what that button does?" Chen's smile was thin, brittle. "It triggers the dispersal ahead of schedule. Right now. Madison Square Garden. 200,000 people. They're hosting a concert. I helped them plan it." Jack's finger tightened on the trigger. "Why?" "Because the people paying me aren't interested in power or politics." Chen's eyes were distant now, focused on something beyond the room. "They're interested in chaos, in proving that nothing can be protected. Not your cities, not your people, not your certainty that you're safe." He paused. "My daughter has leukemia. They offer to cover her treatment. Experimental therapy, the kind insurance companies won't touch. So you killed her chance at a future along with everyone else's." "No." Chen's hand moved again, faster this time. Jack fired. The shot caught Chen in the shoulder, spinning him backward out of his chair, but his other hand had already pressed something. A phone. A remote. Jack couldn't tell which. The building's alarm system began to wail. Jack grabbed Chen by the collar, pulling him up. "How do we stop it?" "You don't." Chen coughed blood. "The dispersal system is autonomous now. It's already in the ventilation system, already spreading. You have maybe 2 minutes before it reaches critical saturation in the building, and 20 minutes before it hits the streets." Jack's mind crystallized into that strange clarity that came only in the final moments, the moment when every choice collapsed into one. He could evacuate the building, save the people here, or he could find the system and try to shut it down, gamble everything on a chance. He made his choice and ran.